In the first fight, we have Juliana Miller versus Ivana Petrovic. Miller's 28 years old, 4-3, 2-3 in her last 5 fights, coming off a TKO loss 20 months ago. Miller lands 3.31 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 4.75. She has a 57% finish rate and is a plus 205 underdog. Petrovic is 30 years old, 7-2, 3-2 in her last 5 fights, coming off a decision loss 5 months ago. Petrovic lands 2 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 2.27. She has a 67% finish rate and is a minus 250 favorite. Coming into this fight, both ladies are 1-2 in the UFC. Petrovic will enjoy a 4-inch reach advantage. Miller has the slightly higher output at 3.31 versus 2. Petrovic uses a bit more grappling, and this is really a toss-up fight. Anything can happen here. Miller, in my opinion, has fought the better competition, but Petrovic has more experience as she's just been in there a bit more. It's really a coin flip, but I'm just going to go with Ivana Petrovic. What's up, everybody? Crossover MMA back in here for another video. Now let's get back into UFC Iowa. In the next fight, we have Thomas Peterson versus Dontel Mays. Peterson's 30 years old, 9-3, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, coming off a TKO loss 2 months ago. Peterson lands 4.45 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 3.99, he has a 67% finish rate, and is a minus 240 favorite. Dontel Mays is 33 years old, 11-8, 2-3 in his last 5 fights, coming off of a submission loss 2 months ago. Mays lands 3.49 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 3.77. He has a 37% finish rate and is a plus 195 underdog. We have a heavyweight matchup. They only have 1 win between them over a fighter still in the UFC. Dontel Mays has faced a better competition in my opinion, but we don't always know if he's going to show up for fights. Mays will enjoy a 7-inch reach advantage, and I think that will give Peterson some problems. Peterson on the other side, he likes to use his wrestling as that's his path to victory. And for me, it's Dontel Mays' Achilles heel. I think Peterson would have to eat a few shots before he's able to get inside on Mays and try to get the takedown. I think Mays will definitely be stuck on bottom. This fight, in my opinion, will come down to if Dontel Mays catches Peterson when he tries to close the distance or not. I don't like how Mays always fights off the back foot and doesn't really try to impose his will, his size, and his strength against his opponents. I think Peterson will get the takedown and control Mays on the ground. Give me Thomas Peterson to get it done. In the next fight, we have Gaston Bolanos versus Quang. Bolanos is 32 years old, 8-4, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, come off a decision win 5 months ago. Bolanos lands 3.74 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 2.57. He has a 50% finish rate and is a minus 185 favorite. Lee is 33 years old, 8-2, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, coming off a TKO loss 5 months ago. Lee lands 3.02 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 5.52. He has a 50% finish rate and is a plus 155 underdog. Lee's on a 2-fight skid after getting finished in his last fight. Bolanos just got his first UFC win and is looking in his last fight. Bolanos just got his first UFC win in his last fight and looking to get some momentum going. I think Bolanos will try to keep the fight on the feet and Lee will look to use his grappling. If the fight does go to the ground, this would be Lee's path to victory in my opinion. I think on the feet, he gets hit way too much and isn't very accurate as a striker. Give me Gaston Bolanos to get it done here. In the next fight, we have Marina Rodriguez versus Gillian Robertson. Marina Rodriguez, 37 years old, 17, 5-2, 1-4 in their last 5 fights, coming off decision loss 6 months ago. Rodriguez lands 4.64 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 3.04. She has a 33% finish rate and is a plus 230 underdog. Robertson is 29 years old, 15-8, 4-1 in their last 5 fights, coming off a decision loss 5 months ago. Robertson lands 2.89 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 2.95. She has a 48% finish rate and is a minus 280 favorite. This is a classic striker versus grappler matchup here. Marina Rodriguez has some of the best looking Muay Thai in the division, but her grappling has always been her Achilles heel. Gillian Robertson is a boa constrictor that looks to get the fight to the ground and use control and look to get the submission. Rodriguez only has a 63% takedown defense, and Robertson lands 2.68 takedowns per 15 minutes. Rodriguez will enjoy a 2-inch reach advantage, and she must keep this fight on the feet if she wants to win at all costs. On the flip side, Robertson equally needs to get this fight to the ground at all costs. Rodriguez hasn't beaten a grappler since 2021, and this is what really stands out to me. I really like Marina Rodriguez's striking, but her grappling and her takedown defense worries me big time. So give me Gillian Robertson here. In the next fight, we have Ryan Loder versus Azamat Bekoev. Loder's 33 years old, 8-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, coming off a TKO win 8 months ago. Loder lands 6.16 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 0.15. He has a 56% finish rate and is a plus 260 underdog. Bekoev is 29 years old, 19-3, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, coming off a TKO win 3 months ago. Bekoev lands 6.85 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 4.24. He has a 68% finish rate and is a minus 360 favorite. I think this will be a very fun and exciting matchup. Loder will be making his UFC debut after winning the Ultimate Fighter. Bekoev is coming off a brutal TKO win in his UFC debut. Both men have skills anywhere the fight goes. Loder will enjoy a 5-inch reach advantage, but Bekoev is a legit submission threat with 8 submission wins on his resume. Both men like to use their grappling, but Bekoev lands twice as many takedowns at 4.89 versus 2.2 for Loder. I really liked how Bekoev looked in his UFC debut, but for me, Loder's path to victory is using his reach, staying at range until Bekoev gets aggressive to close the distance and look to get a takedown and try to control Bekoev. I think Loder will find some success early in the fight, but I think Bekoev will be fighting on the front foot and cut off the octagon. I think Bekoev will land some solid strikes and look to assert his grappling game. Give me Azamat Bekoev to get it done. In the next fight, we have Yana Santos versus Misha Tate. Santos is 35 years old, 15-8, 2-3 in her last 5 fights, coming off a decision win 8 months ago. Santos lands 4.42 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 3.12. She has a 35% finish rate and is a plus 110 underdog. Misha Tate's 38 years old, 20-9, 2-3 in her last 5 fights, coming off a submission win 16 months ago. Tate lands 2.62 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 2.98. She has a 41% finish rate and is a minus 130 favorite. It's another classic striker versus grappler matchup. Santos doesn't have the best takedown defense, only 43%. Misha Tate will look to get this fight to the ground ASAP pronto. She lands over 2 takedowns per 15 minutes. Santos will enjoy a 4-inch reach advantage, but I do think that will be a bit negated just from the takedown threat from Misha Tate alone. I think this fight will ultimately end up on the ground. I think Santos will defend, do a good job with the first takedown attempt, but I think after that, Misha Tate will figure out how she's defending the takedowns, and I think that will come much easier for Misha Tate. Once on the ground, I think Santos will just be stuck there, not being able to get back to her feet. So give me the cupcake and Misha Tate. In the next fight, we have Jeremy Stephens versus Mason Jones. Jeremy Stephens, 38 years old, 29-21, 1-4 in his last 5 fights, coming off a submission loss 2 years ago. Stephens lands 3.17 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 3.05, has a 42% finish rate, and is a plus 360 underdog. Mason Jones is 30 years old, 15-2, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, coming off a decision win 9 months ago. Jones lands 5.61 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 4.94, has a 59% finish rate, and is a minus 480 favorite. Jeremy Stephens is making his UFC return after 4 years away. This will be his first MMA fight since 2022. Mason Jones will be making his return to the UFC as well after being cut in 2022. Jeremy Stephens has fought pretty much everyone, so the experience difference is huge. However, Stephens is 3-7 in his last 10 MMA fights. Mason Jones is on a 4-fight win streak, has some momentum going, and is the much younger fighter. Jones also has higher output, but does get hit a lot as well, so take that with a grain of salt. Jones also mixes in the grappling with 3.16 takedowns per 15 minutes. I think this fight's going to come down to Jones's activity, the volume, and his grappling. I think Stephens will look a bit hesitant on the feet, expecting getting taken down. With them being so tentative, I think Mason Jones gets it done. So give me Mason Jones here. In the next fight, we have Cameron Smotherman versus Serhiy. Smotherman is 27 years old, 12-4, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, coming off a decision win 6 months ago. Smotherman lands 6.25 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 4.56. He has a 44% finish rate and is a plus 110 underdog. Sidey's 28 years old, 11-2, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, coming off a decision win 5 months ago. Sidey lands 4.87 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 4.44. He has a 62% finish rate and is a -155 favorite. This should be a striker's delight right here. Smotherman is coming off a win in his UFC debut. He definitely looked the part, and the bright lights weren't too much for him at all. He showed really good fight IQ and stayed within himself, which I really like. Serhiy Sidey is coming off a robbery win. He will enjoy a 3-inch reach advantage. Smotherman will need to continue using good head movement and get his head off the center line. Both men absorb a good amount of shots. Either guy can truly win this fight. And I think this is really a toss-up, as either guy can land one shot and it can change the entire fight. Sidey, in my opinion, should be 0-2 in the UFC. I like the momentum Smotherman is on since stubbing his toe in this Dana White Contender Series fight, but give me the babyface killing Cameron Smotherman to get it done. In the next fight, we have Montel Jackson versus Daniel Marcos. Montel Jackson is 33 years old, 14-2, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, coming off a TKO win 9 months ago. Jackson lands 3.39 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 1.42, he has a 56% finish rate, and is a -200 favorite. Daniel Marcos is 32 years old, 17-0, coming off a decision win 4 months ago. Marcos lands 5.9 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 4.25, he has a 47% finish rate, and is a +170 underdog. This is an interesting matchup here. Montel Jackson mixes it up well with the striking and the grappling. Marcos is much more of a striker with very high output and solid takedown defense at 88%. Jackson will enjoy a 7-inch reach advantage, which will serve him well, as I think Marcos will be the slightly slicker striker. Jackson is a legit takedown threat, though, is landing 3.41 takedowns over 15 minutes. Both men have similar type power in their hands, and the level of competition is very similar as well. The path to victory for Jackson will be using long-range strikes with that 7-inch reach advantage. Then whenever Marcos starts getting aggressive to close the distance, look to shoot those takedowns and get on top, use control, mix in some ground and pound. For Marcos, the path to victory will be get inside the reach of Jackson, slip some shots to get his way in the boxing range, and just land combinations. I think Marcos will use leg kicks as a way to touch Jackson from range as well. This is a very tricky fight, and I do believe Daniel Marcos is a very live dog right here. I think the reach advantage and the grappling threat used properly by Jackson will be a tough puzzle for Marcos to solve, so give me Montel Jackson to get it done in a close one. In the next fight, we have Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Daniel Rodriguez. Ponzinibbio is 38 years old, 31-8, 2-3 in his last 5 fights, coming off a TKO win 3 months ago. Ponzinibbio lands 4.8 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 4.61, he has a 59% finish rate, and is a +105 underdog. D-Rod is 38 years old, 18-5, 2-3 in his last 5 fights, coming off a decision win 6 months ago. D-Rod lands 7.5 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 5.47, he has a 52% finish rate, and is a -130 favorite. This is a veteran matchup and is one I think that will play out on the feet. Ponzinibbio's been in a few more wars than D-Rod. Ponzinibbio also has more wear and tear on him than D-Rod as well. Ponzinibbio definitely has slowed down more, in my opinion, the last couple of years. He's still very dangerous and still has power in his hands. Ponzi's style is a bit more looping, whereas D-Rod throws the straighter, cleaner shots. I don't think either guy will rush in and take any big chances. I think both men will stay on the outside and just really look to capitalize on the other guy making a mistake, like overextending and then getting countered. I see this fight being a bit more of a boxing match than kicks being used sparingly. I like D-Rod's boxing slightly more than Ponzinibbio's. I think this is a close fight, but give me D-Rod to get it done. In the co-main event, we have Reinier de Ridder versus Bo Nickal. De Ridder's 34 years old, 19-2, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, coming off a submission win 3 months ago. De Ridder lands 3.28 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 2.69, he has an 81% finish rate, and is a +225 underdog. Bo Nickal is 29 years old, 7-0, coming off a decision win 5 months ago. Nickal lands 2.65 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 1.86, he has an 86% finish rate, and is a -280 favorite. Bo Nickal gets another step up in competition, this time against another BJJ practitioner in De Ridder. I think this fight is a bit more dangerous than the Paul Craig fight was, though. De Ridder is a bit more competent on the feet, isn't afraid to mix it up on the ground as well. I think Bo Nickal will actually use his wrestling this time, and it will be equally as dangerous for him in this fight as it was in the Paul Craig fight. It's going to be interesting to see if Bo Nickal can negate De Ridder's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu when he's on top. If Nickal decides not to wrestle like he did in the Paul Craig fight, the striking will be very interesting because De Ridder is going to walk forward and will make this a fight. Nickal doesn't take many chances on the feet, and like I said, De Ridder isn't afraid at all to mix it up. De Ridder will enjoy a 2-inch reach advantage on the feet, so I think that will force Nickal to be a bit more active. This is really a tough fight for me. 2025 has been the year of fighters that lose their O. I'm really tempted to take De Ridder here, but I'm going to go with Bo Nickal to use his wrestling, just control De Ridder and nullify his BJJ. Nickal will need to be very careful of the guillotine when he shoots for takedown. In the main event, we have Cory Sandhagen versus Deiveson Figueiredo. Sandhagen is 33 years old, 17-5, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, coming off a decision loss 8 months ago. Sandhagen lands 5.02 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 3.46, he has a 46% finish rate, and is a -450 favorite. Figueiredo is 37 years old, 24, 4-1, 3-2 in his last 5 fights, come off a decision loss 5 months ago. Figueiredo lands 2.91 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 3.55, he has a 62% finish rate, and is a +320 underdog. This is a phenomenal main event. Truly the elite of the elite at bantamweight. The winner could be in line for a title eliminator against Peter Yan or even get a title fight. You never know how things may play out in the UFC. Both men are coming off tough decision losses in their last fight against Umar Nurmagomedov and Peter Yan. Both men have skills wherever the fight goes. Neither guy's a big puncher. I know Figgy has some KOs at flyweight, but that power hasn't exactly translated at bantamweight. I think we're in for a high-level chess match here. Figgy has really leaned into using his grappling at bantamweight, and it's really carried him. Sandhagen got out-grappled in his last fight, so this might be the route Figgy tries to go with. For Sandhagen, he'll have a 2-inch reach advantage and a 6-inch height advantage. I think Sandhagen will need to keep it on the feet and pick Figgy apart from range. Use some low kicks, some jabs, 1-2s, teeps to the body, all the long-range weapons he has in his arsenal. Figgy has done a great job of countering his opponent's aggressiveness by shooting double and single legs underneath that. I think the pace will be a bit more measured in this fight as they feel each other out. Both men know the stakes on this fight. Figgy will have to look to get inside. He's usually pretty measured and takes his time. This could get him into trouble as Sandhagen could get ahead on him with volume alone. Sandhagen also uses really good footwork, stays in constant motion, and is just never really very flat-footed. Figgy's still an amazing fighter at 37 years old at a lower weight class. Either guy can really win this fight. I see path to victories for both men. Sandhagen with his footwork, his length, his volume. Figgy is an opportunistic grappler, always ready to snatch up a submission. This is a very close fight as both fighters are so equally skilled. It's a really tough pick, but I'm going to go with Cory Sandhagen to get it done. If you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. Questions, comments, thoughts, and your feedback is always welcome. And as always, until next time.